I want to be like have an honest conversation. What is screen time looking like? Like how often is it?
That's
TV
a great
on?
question.
Even
at
if
3 different ages,
TV.
1, almost 2, and 3.
And I like how you brought that up when I'm saying this, because
Yeah.
that was mine and Henry's conversation.
Yeah.
And I'm like, because I do have stuff to do and he has stuff to do, so I'm like,
Same.
now he's just awake more, you know,
Yep.
like what do we do with him? And so I was online reading like what you can do with him, and it's like even if he doesn't go down for his nap, which sometimes he's not, they still need like their own quiet,
Yep.
calm time. So I'm like, okay, that's great, because that's like alone time, quiet time for himself, which I appreciate too, because it breaks up that leg for me, that last leg of the day.
Yep.
And so I'm like, what does that look like? Sometimes this kid will really go in his playpen and he can't read, but he's flipping through the books.
I love that.
And he'll just do that. And I'm like, what?
For how long?
Sometimes half an hour, sometimes 45 minutes.
Wow.
He'll just be in there. And I'm like, I'm leaving him to it. But like, if we put him in, like, look at your books, like, it doesn't work like that.
Yeah.
Like, it's when he wants to, you know?
Yeah.
So I'm like, at this point, when he drops that second nap, we will put him in there. And if he's like, nah, it's not happening, then we let the screen time come in for 25 to 30 minutes. And so far, it's only Miss Rachel.
Yeah.
And he is 14 months. And for me, and we've had these conversations, I'm like, he doesn't know any cartoons. Like, I went to a first birthday, and it was all Cars, the Disney movie for a 1-year-old. And like this 1-year-old knew like the Cars, the characters. And I'm like,
that was Poppy.
I'm like, how? Like, we're
She's
not
a
even
Disney
showing
kid.
him any of these movies though. Like, he doesn't have screen time like that. So like, he didn't know who Cars was. And then another one was like Spider-Man we went to, and like this kid knew Spider-Man. Like,
At
if
one?
you
At
at
one?
one.
Oh,
Like, if you
wow.
showed my child Spider-Man, he'd
Do
be
they
like,
have
I
an
don't know
older
who that is.
sibling? That kid?
No.
Oh.
Neither had older siblings, so I'm like, are we like behind on screen time? Because if he has screen times, he's only watching Miss Rachel.
Yeah.
And like he doesn't watch animation yet. So I'm like, he knows no characters, and I felt like guilty for that. Like, should he know like Mickey Mouse?
Yeah.
Should he know Spider-Man? Should he like know these people? Like, I don't know.
I don't know. I don't want to, because I don't know. Some parents. Okay, backtrack. I do want to say that as parents, we have stuff to do. Right.
Yeah.
And so sometimes the TV is a babysitter.
Right.
Right. And so for us, it was Miss Rachel and Miss Isa. Because Miss
I
Isa
love
is like,
Mrs. Isa.
she's
Yeah.
like the Spanish version. So we'd put that a lot for Saint too. So that was like the babysitter for a while. My mom, she would watch Saint. She would always have something on the TV. Always. And always, or like playing something. She doesn't like quiet.
Yeah.
So it's triggering for her. So I've had to actively, it's been like a tug and pull for me and her, and be like, do not turn on the TV, because we would have it on literally.
What about the music though?
all
'Cause
day?
I always have the music.
Yeah,
on.
music is fine.
Okay.
Yeah, but I'm saying because also that could attribute, even if he's silently playing by himself, if there's stuff playing all the time, it can also encourage ADHD, because they're even if they're not looking at it, they're like paying attention. There's like this, there's that, there's like multiple
There's like different things going on.
And I have ADHD, so I mean, I could genetically he could already have it genetically because I passed it. I don't know that, but I don't want to actively give that to him, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, I wish I could say, like, put it on for 20 to 30 minutes, but hell no, that thing is, like, on. Especially,
Really?
like,
See, because, and
is
that's
on.
like what I want to know, too.
Yeah.
Like, because I feel guilty leaving it on, like, that long.
Yeah.
Because he's still pretty little.
Yeah.
So I'm like, 25, 30 minutes. I could...
In
finish a
spurts.
last email, take a shower, come out and get him, then like try to figure out the rest of the leg.
Right. But I think at 14 months, they don't really actively watch. Like, they'll look up, they'll do something. But Saint, he's 21 months, he'll sit there and watch.
No,
like-
my kid is watching Miss Rachel. He's like obsessed
yeah,
with
he's
her.
really
Like, he
watching?
laughs when
But-
when they sing the
Oh, I
little
love
songs.
that.
We put him in the bouncer, so he's bouncing, and like so when a song comes on, he bounces like faster.
Yep.
And he's
Oh,
like
I
getting
love
all
that.
excited with the
But
song.
but I think also, yes, it counts as screen time with Miss Rachel, but it's like he's still learning.
That's where I'm
the
coming
thing.
from.
That's
yeah.
the thing. I feel like there's a lot of such a big range of options that we have when it comes to learning.
Yeah.
When it comes to what type of screen time, like I think that it's hard because as the wake windows get bigger, you're like, what the heck do I do with them?
Right.
Yeah.
For all this time, they can only do so much at certain ages.
Right.
And I think that's when we did.
And you
start
can
screen
only do so
time.
much until you want to blow your head off. And I'm like,
Like, we've done all the things.
Yeah.
I just can't. I just need to take a break. Like, it's freaking 9 a.m. and we've painted. We've gone outside. We've
It feels like it's 3
sensory
p.m.
bin.
Yeah.
We've done all the things. And like, I just need a break. But I do think like the quality of the screen time is what's really important. Because I do feel like we, for the most part, Poppy only watched Miss Rachel for like a really long time, I think, for the most part, except for we started implementing Disney movies, like certain ones that had a lot of music. She watched her first movie was Encanto, and she probably, I would say maybe she was like 9 months.
Oh,
yeah.
Wow.
I used to just play, or a lot of the times I would be watching the Disney movie.
Yes.
Because and like during the wake windows too, like I would just, because I had to hold Saint, and I have like a different, like I feel like the viewers listening or people listening know that by now Saint is like, was not an easy sleeper.
Yeah.
So I had to hold him a lot of the times, and I'd be bored. So I would only watch Disney stuff.
Yeah.
And so it would always kind of be on, whether he was asleep or not, because I would have to be holding him. But he wouldn't start paying attention until maybe like 14 months, I want to say. Like to like the Disney movies.
Yeah.
Because
Poppy was already like at 9 when we first
She
showed
was
her
saying,
Encanto.
remember me.
Yeah, literally when we first showed her Encanto and Coco, specifically music heavy ones.
Yeah.
Immediately she's like, oh my God, what is this? You
I
know,
love
she
that.
was
The music that we play, I made a playlist on Spotify, and I include the Disney songs.
Yes.
So when he does start watching these
recognize
movies, he knows the song. He's like, wait, like I do know those
I
songs.
do know this song.
But
yeah.
when I started incorporating cartoons, it was Bluey at first, because each episode is short. It's like 8 minutes or something. Or
and
10
Bluey's
minutes.
so mature,
It's
I
short.
feel.
No, but it's for the younger kids.
Yeah.
But also for the parents too, because they're also seeing how parents interact. They're seeing how the parents play with the kids. They're seeing like problem solving.
Yeah. We'll talk more about Bluey because I'm like, but I have both. Both. I love it and then I hate it sometimes.
But I like that they're short because
yes,
you don't want them to be like glued and be like zombies.
Yeah.
So they're shorter episodes. He does not watch Peppa Pig. I do not like that because
why?
Peppa Pig,
because Peppa Pig has like an attitude, and like you see at this age, like they start copying stuff.
Oh yeah.
So
which is why
Interesting,
sometimes I also think Bluey sometimes has an attitude. Like there's certain things where I'm like, oh no, or like they're like forcing their parents to like play things at certain, and I'm like, oh lordy. Yeah. We don't need that. We don't need that type of energy. You know, like there's certain times where I'm like, okay, I do feel like Bluey is very mature. It's obviously mature because, yes, they have said it's for parents too. Mm-hmm. So I feel like Poppy is not as engaged in Bluey episodes because of that, because it's like more, mature. A little bit more like problem solving. Yeah. And she's kind of like, I don't care. You know, but I do think like that sometimes I feel like there's so many different perspectives out there about screen time, and like one of them is, the shorter bite-sized type of stuff is like
better.
Some people feel like it's not as good because the attention is like kind of like how they say like, you know, lower stimulating shows, which Bluey is one of the lower stimulating shows. Watching lower stimulating shows, watching like longer form content that's like kind of telling an overarching story. You know, like people just all have their different perspectives. None of it's right or wrong. We obviously don't know. We're not professionals.
Right.
Once again, we're stating this in this episode.
I'm learning. Like, that's why I'm listening, because I didn't know that about Bluey, and I didn't know that about Peppa Pig.
Yeah, it's
he does. I'm so adamant about this. He cannot watch Cocomelon either.
Yeah, we don't do Cocomelon.
I've heard there's a lot of bad things
stimulating.
about Cocomelon.
It's super stimulating.
It's too stimulating. So it does. The kids are super engaged in it because of how stimulating it is. So I don't want to watch that. I hate him to watch that. He also watches Little Bear. Because
I heard that's a good one.
Little Bear.
I love Little Bear.
And Franklin.
Yeah,
Franklin,
I love
but
Franklin.
he recognizes. He'll say bear, duck, cat, meow. Like he'll.
What is Little Bear on?
That's.
Is it Amazon?
No, Paramount. I think it's Paramount.
Oh, okay. Yeah, and I think that's like, because I do know a lot of parents whose babies are smaller, and I was like this when my baby was smaller, which was more like, you know, obviously you have to wait for them to get a certain age till they start watching more screen time. Mm-hmm. Now Poppy is 3, like she's at the age where it's fine, you know, but I do feel like there's certain people who will not show their kids like learning things, and I think that we have so many resources. There's so many benefits, and like I genuinely feel like Poppy has learned so much from some of the shows that she watches. Like the other night, she started saying all the planets, and we were like, she said something like, "Oh, mommy, that's the sun," and then my husband asked her,
Instagram.
he was like, "Wait, do you know other planets?" And then she's like, Jupiter.
Wow.
And then she just started going on this whole tangent. And I was like, I mean, we've read about planets maybe once, but like I knew that's not where it came from.
Yeah.
And so we were like, where did you learn this? And she's like, Blippi.
Blippi.
Yes.
But see,
yes, Blippi.
that is true. Like, use the screen time wisely, which is what I've only done so far, Miss Rachel.
Yes. Yeah.
I do like wanna for fun. Like, I want him to know like characters.
Yes, it's
but
fun.
but I definitely know there's a few things that Santi has learned. Again, he's 14 months and he's been saying no for like 2 or 3 months. Which we have not taught him that.
Yes.
Miss Rachel teaches that. She teaches yes and she teaches no. Yeah. So now like with food, I'm like, ¿quieres más? And he'd be like, no. And I'm like, dude, we did not even teach him that. Like that definitely came from Miss Rachel.
Taught Saint how to wave.
Yeah. Santi was waving early too. And
how many months?
Dude, I don't remember. Yeah. It was
like 8, 9
last
months.
year. Yeah. Last year.
Yeah, I remember. It was one of the milestones when we first started the podcast.
Yeah. Early on, he was
They
waving.
really do like, and I obviously like Poppy was an early talker, and she's still like her vocabulary is amazing. And I, as much as I know that I'm like the yap factory that birthed her, which has a lot to do with why she's like that. Miss Rachel is like a close second. Okay, she's like taught her enunciation. I feel like she uses words that I'm like, we don't even talk like that. Like she said the other day. Just because I told her it was time to go to sleep, and I was not yelling or shouting, by the way. She goes, Mommy, you shout at me. I said, shout? Who says shout? I don't even use that word.
I don't even use the word shout.
But I know that she's like, the vocabulary sometimes that maybe we don't use in our house like they use on Blippi or Bluey or whatever, especially other cartoons that are based in different areas. Like Blippi's from Australia or New Zealand, right?
That's right.
Peppa Pig is like English. So it's like, it's funny to hear their little, what they take from those shows sometimes because you're like, you're kind of saying that with an accent.
Yeah.
But you know what I also do is I watch the Disney movies with him. And it's like a really cute bonding. So now he loves Frozen. And he'll even ask for it. He'll be like, Fro. Like he'll want to see Frozen.
Not Fro.
Not Fro. So cute. Like there's still some movies like I do not do Lilo and Stitch. I tried it. But hell no.
Stitch is kind of scary, no?
No, but it's not even that.
She
it's a
says
little girl.
idiot, and she said,
the little girl has way too much of an attitude and she throws fits. And I don't want Saint. I actually played it for a little bit, and the first time she screamed, Saint started screaming. I was like, hell nah. So
and the beginning's kind of scary because it's like the coming down from the space time.
Yeah.
And then she talks back to her sister like a lot, like the slamming the doors. Yes.
Yeah, there's no Lilo and Stitch.
You kind of learn like what does it, and I feel like Inside Out 2, unfortunately, we have to kind of like monitor that one because teenage, and she is like having the moments, and I'm like, we do not need that kind of energy being spilled into you right now.
Which is why too, like because he's like adamant he'll watch stuff. It's hard for me to watch anything. Like, so I don't get adult like screen time too because he actively watches it. So like when Zaire's in the living room, he'll watch his YouTube videos. So Saint like he'll watch videos of like people cleaning cars, and so Saint will just like
he's gonna be the cleanest kid.
Yeah. But Saint also copies us, so he'll clean and like, he'll vacuum and stuff.
Yeah,
I will say on the flip side, I know somebody who waited to show their kids any screen time until 4, and so on her 4th birthday, they were like, they would play the Disney soundtracks and songs. So on her 4th birthday, like she knew a lot of songs by then from the Disney movies. They're like, what movie do you want to watch? And she's like, Moana, the first one. Wow. So they made it a whole thing. They dressed up like Moana. They had like a whole little Moana party at the house, and she was so excited, and they put it on, and she was crying because I don't think I've ever seen Moana, but the grandma dies in the beginning.
Yeah. I cried.
Mm-hmm.
And so at 4, she understands already grandma dying.
Wait, Saint too.
Already?
Yes. It was, what movie was it? I don't remember which one it was, but he got teary-eyed. And even with Frozen, when she's like, sad, he'll go, Mama. And he'll,
God.
So freaking
so
smart.
See, like movies like that, I'm like, I don't like.
Which is a lot of Disney movies,
all
of people
the Disney movies, Coco.
Poppy only got like that with Lion King. when Lion King.
I still
when
cry in Lion King.
She was like,
I cannot watch that movie.
She was so little. She was probably like 12 months maybe. Yeah. Me and my mom were watching it, and she was just kind of playing, and then that part happened, and she was looking, and she's like, like she started panicking, and I was like, no, the daddy's just sleeping.
Yeah. Sometimes
see, is that stress that like when is that okay for them to like experience that? That's what I'm worried about.
And another thing too, so my son is biracial. Mm-hmm. He's half black, half Colombian, Nicaragüense, or third, whatever. But he's still a black kid, right? And so I'm also being very adamant about what I'm showing him. I don't want him to only see white princess girls. I want him to be, and like more than even that, it's just like what we read to him, what we show to him. We want him to see himself also. So like we played like Princess and the Frog too, but even that I'm fast forwarding because there's a lot of scary parts. Yeah. So I like a lot of the voodoo stuff.
Yeah.
I fast
because it's like voodoo.
We
and
fast
stuff.
forward.
I've never seen that movie either.
It's really
good
cute,
movie.
But there's voodoo. Yeah.
There's a lot of voodoo, but it's scary voodoo. Voodoo isn't necessarily bad, but it's just like what they show.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which
it's
I
like
also
they like darken it and kind of make it like villainy because he's the villain in that, Yeah.
So I'm also careful too with what I'm showing him too, and showing, okay, Miss Isa who speaks Spanish. Okay, Miss Rachel, she speaks English. Miss Tab, also Tabitha Brown. I play Miss Tab too.
I love her.
So we're showing him different stuff because I want him to be proud to be black, proud to be Latino, proud to be I was gonna say American, but also hello. But okay,
in this day and age,
are any of us from? I don't know right now.
Okay, so we do rely on screen time a little bit, and that's okay. Just figure out what is good for you, for your baby,
the quality,
and no judgment.
No judgment.
Moms, like let's not judge anybody.
I also hate that.
There's some days where it's like so much.
You might need more than the other.
And there's some days where there's nothing, and you're like, oh wow, we went the whole day without watching TV.
Those
I feel like the older they get, the less that happens. Like they like Poppy asked for it now, so it's different. But
the last thing I do want to say with that is that what we've implemented is no screen time before his first nap. So
that's good.
Or before any sleep.
Oh yes, So then he's still like, we'll play with him. We'll go outside. Yeah.
Okay.
So TV can help us get through those moments, even now that we have older kids.
Yes.
So that's great to know. Thanks so much for hanging out with us on Nightclubs to Night Feeds. We hope you enjoyed this episode, and we are, of course, always continuing the conversation on our social media. You can find us on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube at Nightclubs to Night Feeds. That's at Nightclubs, the number 2, and then Night Feeds. Make sure to follow us and let us know if there's a topic you want us to cover. Can't wait to chat next time.